Well, what's keeping us from being great? And I realized it wasn't our adversaries, it was ourself, that we had put limits on ourself. And once I started engaging the crew and getting their input on how to do things better, they're the ones who took ownership, and they're the ones who turned the ship around. One of the first things I did after taking command of the ship, I got the entire crew together, all 310 of them, and I said, I don't care what your age is, I don't care what your rank is, I don't care how long you've been in this organization. You can come to work every day, and you can challenge every process, every procedure, every custom, every tradition. And if you have a better idea on how to get something done, I want to hear from you. Do not fear raising your hand and telling your chain of command what your idea is. And if your ideas make sense, and if I can implement them, given the restrictions I have to live within, we'll try it out. And if it works, we'll pass it up the chain of command for implementation throughout the rest of the Navy. And 6 months into the program, a sailor came and knocked on my door one morning. He said, you know, Captain, over the last 6 months, we haven't done anything radical on this ship. It's the Navy. We've been around for 239 years. He said, but what you've challenged us to do is to improve every process and every procedure just a little bit every day. That was part of our culture. And he said, when I woke up this morning, for the first time since I've been in the Navy, I've looked forward to coming to work. He said, we've radically changed the way we do business on this ship, and it's because we feel like we have a voice as to how we get things done around. He says, Captain, we have a term to describe the organization on this ship. He said, this ship is like a tree full of monkeys. He said, you're the monkey at the top of the tree. On every branch, there's different levels of monkeys, and we're the monkeys in the bottom branch. He said, whenever you look down from the top of the tree, all you ever see are smiling faces coming back at you. When we look up from the bottom branch, we have an entirely different view of the organization. And when that sailor said that to me for the first time, I started putting myself in their shoes and viewing the operation through their eyes. And it was then I realized I've got a multi-generational workforce and I've got a multicultural workforce. That is the face of America today. And you know what? Each group speaks their own language. You don't speak to your 70-year-old parents the same way you speak to your 20-year-old children. It requires a different level of communication skills. And I realized I was going to have to up my game of connecting with each group about where we're going and why it's in their own best interest. Everything we did, this is why it's in your own best interest. And slowly, sailors came around. They started looking me in the eye for the first time. They started smiling at work for the first time. And I could literally start to see the course of the ship starting to change. And when I was out walking around, I wanted to fix something else I hated about the Navy. Historically, when the captain's out walking around, we're looking for sailors screwing off so we could reprimand them. I thought, why not look for sailors doing something great so that I could thank them for their hard work and dedication? You know, I don't get to motivate my crew by giving them pay raises or bonuses. So how do you recognize people when you can't give them extra money? Well, think about what meant something to us as we were coming up through the ranks. Somebody we respected and admired caught us doing something great and gave us a pat on the back, which gave us confidence to become the entrepreneurs and the leaders that we are today. You know what I can tell you about the generations coming behind us? Many of them have never had anybody in their lives to catch them doing something right and to give them validation. And because they never had the validation, they don't have the confidence to step up to the plate. And what I tried to do was to look for sailors doing something great so that I could give them that validation. I do have one form of formal recognition I can give a sailor. They're called Navy Achievement Medals. And they're important to sailors because if they get one, they get a bonus point on their advancement exam. I'm authorized to give out 15 of these medals a year. So I'd walk around the ship with medals in my pocket. And if I caught a sailor doing something great, I'd put a medal on his or her chest right on the spot. Thank them for going the extra mile. As I told you, I'm authorized to give out 15 of these a year. I figured nobody at the Bureau of Naval Personnel was tracking how many medals I was giving out. In my first year in command, I gave out 115 Navy Achievement Medals. You know what I figured? What's the worst they can do to me? Fire me? Put me on one of the worst ships in the Navy and send me to sea? I'm already there.